It is no wonder that in the world today, you see that there are books and tons of people on social media claiming that the Holocaust never happened and saying that it is all a part of people's imagination, which is clearly false, and not only that, extremely stupid to say. So, if people can argue and discount something so simple and extremely obvious as the Holocaust, then why wouldn't they do the same thing about the revelation of Sinai to Israel? After all, the Holocaust happened 80 years ago. The revelation at Mount Sinai was 3,500 years ago. It's pretty easy for people to just say there is no God, there is no revelation at Mount Sinai, and none of these things actually exist. But in truth, nobody in ancient history argued with authenticity of the Mount Sinai experience and revelation. You don't see any books from the past that really argued with this, and nobody says it never happened, and that it was all just mass delusion. The Jewish religion says that all people have the power to get to higher levels and become spiritual. The difference between Jews and non-Jews is that the Jewish people were given a book, a Torah, in which there are details of how a person should behave in this world and all the commandments, and this book was given to them by God. So the uniqueness of the Jewish religion is that it holds that God appeared to all of Israel, and to a lesser degree, he appeared to all peoples in the world. Israel consisted of about 600,000 men from the age of 20 and above, and there were at least the same amount of women, which already gives you the number of 1,200,000. And probably the same amount of people were those under the age of 20, which makes 2.4 million. And then a bunch of people from other nations who were called the large multitude, aka the Erev Rav, were attached to them, and there were maybe another 2 million. So you already have about 4 million people who received the divine revelation. God came to them and gave them the tablet of laws. And you don't really see that in any other religion. Nobody in any other religions claims that their religion was given to millions of people by God. All other religions basically started from one person who claimed to have had some revelation and spread it from there. If you look at the Christian and Muslim religions, for instance, you see that these religions basically have the same idea. The Christians came along and said that the Jews were right and were the chosen people by God to receive his Torah, but then God abandoned them. So even the religions that persecuted us stand by our experience at Mount Sinai, where God gave us the Torah. Christianity basically came along and said that Jews messed up and that our man is supposed to start a new religion and to take place of the Jews and do things differently. And then basically Muhammad came along too a few hundred years later and said the same thing. The Jews were given the Torah, they messed up, Christians messed up, everyone messed up. Now I am okay. It is all given to me and I have to make the whole world Muslim. And that mentality is basically going on until today. And so it is with the Mormons and others. All have a religion which was started by one person who claims to have had a revelation and spread it from there. The whole Jewish religion is very different to all these other religions. And unless you were born a Jew or you are really interested in practicing Judaism and fulfilling its commandments, you wouldn't want to be a Jew. And indeed, we don't look for converts. And this is due to that. If you are really going to practice it and adopt it, you will get a great reward. But if you don't follow it after you have accepted it upon yourself, you will be punished from heaven. And so we don't actively try to convert people because we want to do good for people and not expose them to the risk of converting to Judaism and then expose them to the downside of backing off from fulfilling its duties. But if somebody really wants to convert, we would surely be glad to accept them after explaining to him or her all of our history and suffering. We would ask him why he wants to join us and have such a hard life. But if he commits despite the potential hardships, then we would be happy to accept him. So you see, it is not that we are better than other people, but rather that we were given the holy book of God, and this is what we are. And through this book, we have the ability to go into higher spiritual levels. But it is not that we are intrinsically better than others.